with a wood structure underneath, and then the cement pad. It needs to be an additional cost of this.
When we say cannibalize 2 sets each, how many feet of the original ones are we going to use?
Probably just, in my opinion, from what I heard, was just what they're going to cannibalize is just the benches and the feet things. The frame and everything will just be on, because they've got a different set of system.
It's going to take the cannibalizing, the way I understood it was going to remove the aluminum
Just the
part
aluminum,
from
that's
the
it.
steel part and reuse the aluminum to bring the old sets up to, steal it from one place to bring a couple of sets of them up to code.
But the structure and all the handrails and all that would be new then?
Yes, that's the way I took it, because the system that the seats and the foot rests would be on is a different system completely, so that you can't have kids or whatever crawl between it, so it's got to be completely different.
But do we know what size the 2 sets of bleachers would be at the 2 new locations?
They would be what would they be?
They're 14 feet a section.
14 or 15 feet.
Yeah.
Might be.
So I'd say we have about 30 feet, roughly 30 feet at the
Softball field.
at the softball field. We'd have 2 sets of 30.
What size is the set of bleachers on the far side of the football field?
I believe they're the same size. There's 2 sets that would
Would that be 60 or no?
No, it would be 30.
30?
It'd be what you're going to end
Well,
up
that's
with
pretty
these
good.
2. You know what I'm saying? It'd be roughly that, within a foot, one way or the other. And currently, we just take one set of those over to the softball field, correct? So
Yeah.
it'd be 2
Yeah.
then. I mean, it'd be the
It
same.
seems to me that the 7 sets that we have now are 98 feet. It wasn't quite 100 feet, which I think would be the 14 feet.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that the visitor side of football is 2 sets of either 14 or 15, so we're right at the 28 to 30 feet.
Right.
This is all done out of town, right? This is nobody in town can do this. We're out of town. We're not doing it in town. We're doing other than this.
I would imagine the concrete work will be in town and the demolition work would be in town. And the Riser Inc. guy, and I mentioned this before, said he would hire people in town. He'd work with local contractors to do the wood structure under if he wanted, rather than bring his guys in, because he said, I can do that with a local contractor less expensively than housing my guys here for a full week or more to put the wood structure up. He said, I would supervise it because it's got to be supervised by someone, and the whole end product has to be okayed by somebody licensed or certified. That could be either the insurance company or someone who does that kind of work that has that certification.
The thing that we aren't also discussing, when he talked about this, he did not talk in terms of how, he talked in terms of how high he wanted to put it. I know in talking to Stone, he was going to put it back to where it was at the present time. He thought that it really was too low to go any farther, to go any lower than it was at the present time to sort of disservice to those individuals that sit in the bleachers.
Can't remember what he did say originally. Was it 3? I know it was 3 foot for sure, if not 4, which is currently 4.
Actually, there's 4 or something.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that we have that in here somewhere, but it's a good question, Dave, because
Yeah, we talked about that.
I think I read it in something other than...
We're probably going to get it up to. So you're not dealing with the same oranges and oranges and apples and apples.
I think, honestly, that's been part of our dilemma all along, is we've had so many different options that, frankly, we haven't been able to always compare oranges to oranges and apples to apples, which has made it complicated for us.
Well, there has been a motion before we get. Do I entertain a second? Been moved and seconded to proceed with option 5. I'm not going to read that. Now, is there any discussion, further discussion on that? Heard none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carried. The two demolition estimates, they're quite a ways apart. When you first look at it, to me, it looked like, was everybody looking at the same thing? I don't know. If they are, it's really kind of a no, not much of a decision which one to go with there.
I guess my question is are we really, with the new thing we just voted on, are we really setting aside, aren't we removing aluminum planks to be used on the new structure?
That was part of, and the way I took it, was part of his bid to do that.
Okay,
Once they're on the ground and, you know what I'm saying, like they gotta be off to the side. They have to set the bleachers away, obviously, to all the posts and things like that.
Okay, so someone needs to set them aside so they can disassemble what they need to use of.
Correct, that's the way I took it.
Well, I would say that we just need to verify that with Burgess, is that it's not a total, like,
Demolition.
bring their backhoe in and just,
Rake them off the
Yeah.
post.
Right.
that they actually have to set them
Some
aside
sort of care set them aside so that
so
we
they
can...
can take the,
Salvage.
yeah. And I would say if they said yes, I would make a motion to accept that bid.
I second that with the same knowledge that we need to talk to them, that they're not taking it, or they may have thought maybe they're scrapping it, as in salvage rates and things like that, and that's not the case. So I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded to work your date with that stipulation. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carried.
I will bring, we'll get quotes for a concrete pad to you at the next board meeting. To look at those.
Nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
You good? The meeting at 6?
Yeah.